Hello and welcome back to the iSmack MMA podcast. It's been a couple weeks now since we have released a new episode. We're headed up to 301. Hopefully, we'll have a live podcast for you next week. But this card is not the most thrilling, but there's still some interesting stuff. So before we jump into any of that, check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're on all three. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to help us out. And of course, I'm always joined by my buddy Alex Eisman. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Like you said, I'm pretty excited for the chance to maybe do this live episode next week. Gonna be in Big Cincy.
Big Cincy.
Gonna be pretty fun. So
Going to
yeah,
check out some
looking
Tom
looking
Segura. It's going
forward
to be a good
to it.
time.
Yeah, I'm seeing you on here for the last several months. So finally getting back to throwing it back to 2022, 2023 and getting some face-to-face conversations. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great.
Which it's funny thinking about it now because we used to not do these with video. Um, because the in-person and like the lighting setup of it all, we just didn't really have a space to do it. Now I think we're going to have a space to do it with the lighting to have the on camera. But worst case, it might be an audio thing. We'll figure it out. You guys will see whenever that comes out. But no real news for the most part, and coming off a pretty weak fight night card as well.
Yeah, I was not super engaged on Saturday. I had it on kind of just in the background, but like nothing really moved me from that card, if I'm being honest.
No, I'd be lying if I said I even had it on because I just on Saturday I kind of checked out and then circled back to this yesterday, Sunday, and watched the couple of fights that we had predicted. But I mean, if you're already struggling to find two fights worth predicting on a card, I have such a hard time being like, oh, I'm just gonna watch, the prelims of this card whenever it's very clear that they dumped all of their assets into 299 and 300, like we're seeing with 301.
Yeah, but we still got to talk about it. We
Mm.
still made a couple picks.
Oh yeah, there's still plenty of notable folks popping up like on this episode. It's
Yeah.
just off the heels of what we had on 300.
Yeah,
It's
there's still a little bit of a postcard depression hitting for sure.
1,000%.
Um, Yeah, we might not have like a decent one until International Fight Week, which kind of sucks, but
Yeah, but we'll find
or
some gimmicks and
302.
some fun stuff to spruce her up.
Yeah, 302 will be fine, but for now let's get in and talk about the fights that we did pick this weekend, starting with the main event. A little bit of surprise.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I did not see Alex Perez uh kind of regaining form at all
No,
against a
especially
guy like
not against
Nicolau.
Matthäus Nicolau.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and the thing of it is it's like that one, obviously the KO strike. I've gone back and watched that highlight multiple times now. It looks glitchy. It looks like something you'd land in a video game. Obviously it was effective, but it was just one of those things where that's kind of the perfect way for that fight to end because it was like none of what we saw was particularly expected. Good on Perez for coming out of the gate and doing what he did, but like I don't know, it was just a very weird fight that had a very odd ending or odd looking ending, but a definitive one.
Well, yeah, and this is now two in a row that Nicolau's gotten knocked out. The first one, you can cut him some slack with because it was Brandon Royval, but this one is like kind of a head scratcher, eyebrow raiser, whatever you want to call it. Like
Red flag.
something might not be right. And this was on short notice for Alex Perez too. Like he was supposed to fight Manel Kopp, and yeah, I'm a little perplexed by this one. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know what you do with him from here either.
Well, I mean, if he's that chinny now, it's hard to imagine him moving back up like in any way, shape, or form. Like he might end up being more of a 12 to 18 kind of fighter now because I mean, if you're getting chinned by Alex Perez, it's like that's just not and the performance as a whole really wasn't anything special either. So, it wasn't just some crazy shot that put him out. Um, so yeah, I've definitely lost a lot of confidence in Nicolau, who is somebody I thought could be in that 5 to 8 range ish. moving forward.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to get chinned by Alex Perez in 2024 and
Yeah,
another in like 2018 or 2019. Two
right.
very different things.
Right. Just I thought that was mostly understood, but yeah, it's in the time that we are in, that cannot be the result of your fight,
Yes.
especially not one shot, truly out, crumpled against the cage.
Yeah. And
Mm,
it's not like to be honest, I don't think this is going to do anything for Perez either, just because of the run he's been on before this.
right.
This is just kind of like this happened, like what
It's
happens now?
it's a blip.
There's no clear answer.
Right. It's a blip on the radar. It
Hmm.
goes away as quickly as it was there to begin with, and they'll probably rebook the Cop fight. I would assume Cop wins that, and then we're right back to where we started, except for now we don't have Nicolau in those conversations of like possibly fun fights to make in the division.
Right. Right. We didn't predict the co-main, right?
No, no, no. The only two fights we had was this one and then Carini Silva.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Co-main, Ryan Spann lost, just in case you were wondering. But
Yeah.
to Anthony Smith's clone, I was seeing people were saying he's 0-3 against Anthony Smith now, which I thought was pretty funny. But
Which speaking of, we got to talk about him here in a minute.
yeah,
Third fight on
great.
a pay-per-view card in big 2024, dude. What is happening? Um,
But yeah, no, dude, Carini first decision win in the UFC. Glad to see that she's able to win that way. Obviously, a little disappointed that the finish streak has come to an end, but you got to win in a lot of different ways to be successful in the UFC. And I'm still super high on her. I think she's still going to be very, very good.
I like that the test finally came. Like I would say Lipsky won that last round. And then obviously Carini had one and two. But a win's a win. 7 minutes of control time in a 15-minute fight. You take that every day of the week. I know she got outstruck, on the cards, but it never really looked that bad. Um, well, like you
Yep.
said, sucks that the finish streak has come to an end, but now we have answered more questions than questions have spawned from this fight, and that was an important thing for Kareem.
For sure. And Lipsky is that's the biggest fight that she's had so far in the UFC too. Being able to win that, and like you said, the striking felt like um it wasn't as close as it said on the scorecards. But again, that's Carini Silva's power um for a flyweight. It's like that's we talk about it, with a lot of other people. Like that's always a great equalizer. Like you may not be able to land as much, but when you do, that in the eyes of the judges, that's going to be more accounted for.
Right. It's like why Corey Sandhagen beat TJ Dillashaw. It's more about the power than it is. Uh, sorry, just a classic Ice Mac argument from the podcast that I felt like digging up for old time's sake on that one. But that is kind of the same methodology. It's not about who lands the most; it's about who lands the hardest, and you can pretty much bet on Karini to manage that.
Yeah, so very pumped to see her just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
But now might as well just get right into it with 301. How many are we picking? Like
We
7, 8?
we are no five.
Oh,
I with those mentions. I mean, if we just want to predict the folks that I had written down on mentions, we can.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Um, because like I have Jack Shore. You're gonna have a stab at his first name, or oral by, and then Drakkar Close as mentions. But that obviously means I comfortably feel that all three will win.
Yes. Yeah. Mick Tebek is
There you
is
go.
what I'm going at
A
with
lot of
that one.
Y's and a lot of K's is what
Mick
I know.
Mick Tebek oral by.
Yeah, like
Uh People were memeing him for looking like he was part of ancient Mesopotamia. If you've seen that on if you've seen that on social media.
I have,
But
I have.
he his first UFC fight was or no, this is his second UFC fight. His first UFC fight was super exciting, and he got a finish. I think it was a knockout, if I remember correctly. But yeah, very fun. Excited to see him get back in there and hopefully keep it rolling, because it seems like that might be another kind of a Diego Lopez-esque rising star, the way people kind of gravitated towards him after his first fight.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also very excited. I've already said his name, but I like Jack Shore quite a bit. Um,
Mhm.
so just having him in the octagon's always a fun time. Like, I'll definitely be checking that fight. Well, I guess we'll be checking that fight out the day after, but definitely will be one worth mentioning, and I think something that could actually have some implications as opposed to at least one of these fights on this card. Shout out Anthony Smith. All right, we'll start with the actual analysis with a battle of your guys, Paul Craig and Caio Bahayo.
Yeah, this one is kind of tough for me to predict. I my gut tells me Paul Craig,
Really?
just because of the just because he's been fighting guys at like a high level for a lot longer, and he's already a big middleweight. I know it hasn't been sunshine and rainbows lately for him, but um yeah, I don't know. Like the thing with Bahio is like he hasn't won super like dominant. Like his last few wins haven't been all that dominant to me.
Well,
And
I'd say his last one you could argue was not a win.
yes, that is correct. I if I remember correctly, I had him winning on the cards, but yeah, just none of I just haven't been really like excited about any of his wins in, the last year or so. And when you go up against a guy like Paul Craig, who creates his own problems for other people, I just yeah, it's more benefit of the doubt than anything that I'm giving to Paul Craig here.
Yeah, and now I'm leaning Kaio just because like I do remember that lightning in a bottle that was there for a while and he has cooled off. But Paul Craig feels like the right kind of opponent for Kaio to like fully jump into camp and fully commit himself to actually bringing that heat again. Because on paper, Paul Craig is by far the biggest name he's faced, like comfortably. This is where the most eyes are probably going to be on him. Um, Coming into this fight, I think he needs some redemption after those kind of shoddy performances we have recently. I wouldn't put a TKO out of the question for Kaio. I'm going to say decision, but I think his path is obviously on the feet.
Yeah, and that's one that I'm just not going to argue with you, because yeah, that's really, I'm just taking a stab at my
It's
best guess. Like
it's definitely a close one. It's you predict this one with a blindfold on, and whatever you land
yeah,
with is whatever you got.
yes. But with this next fight, we got our boy back.
The duelist. That is actually my
Oh,
first note.
I was talking about
Well, Ihor Potierra has become a bit of a running gag on this podcast. Michel Pereira obviously actually being our boy. But I could not take the opportunity to give the duelist. If any of you guys have been watching consistently, you may remember my duelist dance that I did that one time. Um, but that I'm not even gonna humor it anymore though. Michel's gonna kick his head into Section D, dude. What are we doing?
yeah. Hey man, anything with Michelle Pereira in it, I will watch.
Yes.
I don't care. He could be fighting a literal trash can, and I will tune in and watch him fight. So
Dude, I would pay just to watch him like walk through life. You know what I mean? I He's one of those dudes that he's never gonna get like a documentary from the company, but he should
yes,
because I think it'd be fascinating.
one of the most fun guys on the roster, hands down. I hope he does some sort of like dance on his walkout like he did last time.
I hope he
And
backflips off the top of the cage and stomps Ehor through the mat.
yes, yes. And then emotes on him.
Yes. Well, that was a given. That was a given. He comes preloaded with that. He can't. Sometimes he straight up forgets to fight and is just emoting.
Yeah.
So we rest assured there's going to be some kind of funny celebration. What if he does Ehor's little dancey thing? Probably
That would be an awesome troll, actually.
putting
That
the
would be super funny.
holstering the gun again. Um, Golly, yeah. So double Michelle's there. This is truly a card of dudes we've made fun of a fair amount on this podcast
Yeah.
because
Well,
next up,
up until main and co-main.
right? But I mean, we go from the duelist to Anthony
Anthony
Smith,
Smith.
um, versus Vitor Petrino, who I have not seen a whole lot of like full fights, but I did watch like cut ups and some highlight stuff. Looks pretty okay. I mean, looks like he's got something there.
Yeah. I'll probably take him to win.
I am too. I'm telling you, I got him KOing Anthony before the end of the round two.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony is just not what he was when he fought John for the title. Ever since then, it's just been kind of mid. I mean, I guess he's been mid his whole career, but like he
But
had a little bit of a run where he was like, oh, like,
he
he
was
can beat anyone, from like 3 to 5.
he was ranked mid for most of
Yes.
his career. Like now he is just actually like the
Genuinely
average.
mid.
Right, he
Yes.
is just an average MMA fighter. Which
Yeah.
like I mean, that's what happens when you get old. But like when your calling card becomes thinking about your family in horrible situations to try to get you through a fight, that's probably you probably shouldn't be in the cage anymore.
Yes, that is correct. And dude's lost 3 of his last 4. His lone win was Ryan Spann, um, which clearly has not aged super well.
No,
Um,
no.
so yeah, I just think it might be time for him to lay the gloves down. And I don't hate him as a I've said this before. I don't hate him as like a UFC analyst or anything like that. I think he's very good at that.
Yeah. Super well spoken, dude. He's just not
But
the fighter that he
yeah,
used to be.
in the cage, I don't think it's it anymore.
No. And there's nothing wrong with that. That happens to everybody. But it's like you have to know when to stop, or the memes and the jokes and the whatever are going to become what'll, to be honest, a fair few amount of fans are going to remember you by. Like Sam Alvey. Like his career probably shouldn't be defined by the end run that he had, but that's what people are going to remember him by.
I don't know if we should be comparing Anthony Smith to Sam Alvey though.
No, I'm just that's just the most press or the like the first old guy that didn't get out of the cage early enough example that
Yes.
popped.
Yeah.
That's just a yeah.
I yeah. That's fine, but
No, yeah. Anthony is obviously better than Sam Alvey. But that just he's the peak example of going from somebody who would have just been like oh yeah, he fought to oh that guy, like that meme that I remember. Um, I would hate for that to be Anthony Smith because he has had a good career.
he has for sure. And really with the co-main, I feel like that's another example of, and I mean at a way higher level, you
Yes.
know, like
Now, granted, Jose Aldo, which that's who we're talking about here, Jose Aldo versus Jonathan Martinez. The last time we saw him, like he wasn't like I mean, it was um
he just got humped by Marab for 3
right,
rounds.
and it's Marab. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
really scare me off. Um, and then obviously the fights predating that, he wasn't like totally gone. He wasn't still the same dude, but he wasn't totally gone. That said, it's almost been 2 years since we've seen him.
Yeah, and another guy like Jose Aldo is like 36 or 37. Like and especially with the lighter weights like we've talked about, like that makes way more of a makes way more of an impact when you're and Jose Aldo was a featherweight for the majority of his career and now he's cutting down and like I just
It's a
it
whole
feels
mess.
off to me.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. Especially going in there with a guy like Martinez who can put you out.
And
Um,
he's been rolling too. That dude is on fire.
yes, he is. He's one of the probably the most important like prospects within Bantam to keep your eyes on right now, because like you said, I mean, it feels like he just can't lose.
100%. And I don't think he's gonna.
No.
I'm taking him. I'm gonna hope that it's for a decision because it would make me really sad to see Jose Aldo get finished. But I'm expecting the worst, to be honest.
Um,
Um,
honestly,
yeah,
Alex, I think this whole card could, like, this whole main card could end up being an entirely finish run.
yeah, that wouldn't be shocking.
I mean, like,
That wouldn't be shocking.
I
Well,
think
we have
Paul
him
and Kaya,
guaranteed with Michelle for
right,
sure.
and then
Michelle is
probably
getting one.
Petrino.
Honestly, I mean, Paul Craig is kind of a finishing machine, and Kaio. I know Kaio's become more of a decision warrior, but he has the ability in him. Um, yeah, it could. Anthony Smith's fight's going to be short. Um, yeah, it could happen.
Like,
It could happen.
I think Paul and Kaio's are most safe to go to decision, and even then, like you said, it's by no means safe to go to decision. Um, so yeah, we're both taking Martinez by finish. I know you said you're hopeful for decision, but are you?
I'll take him to win by finish. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but feels like the right way to go. And then this main event, um, I liken it to like when Sean took the belt versus Izzy, but like Sean coming into the fight still kind of had a chance in my mind. I'm struggling to get Steve Erceg a chance in my head.
I love him too. I
I do
think
too.
I remember after his last fight, we were saying like, yeah, this dude could be getting a title shot. I remember saying that I don't think he's ready now though. I think he probably needs one or two more. And we'll see. We'll see if I was right or wrong. But um, I have a feeling I'm gonna be right on this. Pantoja is just a that guy is a freak.
We almost need Pantoja to move up because he is like it's prior to his title run, but he has already cleared out this weight class.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, there's
the
still people always will say Makayev or Cop or I don't know Tagir. Like there's
yeah,
still a couple guys, but they haven't worked their way up yet. And really, it's the same case here. Like this is reaching down all the way to the 10th ranked fighter in the class because he's already beaten pretty much everyone else.
right.
So
Well, that's proof in the pudding. Like if you're choosing three very clearly prospects as his next three possible challengers, it's like that's not good. That's not what you need because you
yeah,
don't just
I agree. I agree with you on that.
yeah, you
But
don't just feed 27-year-olds to champs.
you can't give him you can't give him Royval
No.
immediately afterwards. God, Moreno did get screwed in that fight, but
Yeah, but I
I
mean, you look at the record now and it's like
he's
you're
beaten Moreno 3 times also. So
right, like you're at the Volk and Max situation. Like I know a lot of people will argue that the second fight went to Max or whatever, but it's like okay, but you have this many opportunities and the title did not switch hands. It's like you just have to assume that this guy is just better than Brandon.
yeah, and he's proven it. And he had to wait so long to get his title shot too. Like I am very happy for him that he's getting his shine because while the Brandon and Davison saga was playing out over several years, like Pantoja was always there, wasn't losing, but was never getting his chance. So, you know, I almost think that he kind of deserves to like fight these cans just so he like holds on to the title.
Just
And
to get
Steve
the
Erceg is
rubies.
not a can. That was actually that was disrespectful. But
Well, it's like it's dudes that shouldn't be around the title yet.
yes,
I mean,
yes,
Erceg
not
could
can.
absolutely be a champ. So could Makayev. So could Tagir. Not right now.
Yeah. That's what I meant. That
Yeah.
was way better way of putting it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Pantoja probably finishes this one because that's what he does for the most part. Yeah,
I've got it as TKO too. I don't see this being a particularly fun fight either. Like I think it should be pretty one sided. And That's not to discredit Erceg. Again, I think he could be in these fights where we are saying it's competitive and where we even predict him to win in the future. It's just not right now.
Yeah, not against this guy.
No, but that's part of it. This might be our shortest episode.
Yeah, it's
Like
this is
we might have
not
got
not a
20 minutes.
great pay-per-view.
No.
This was one that I was like we're gonna miss it live,
Yes.
and it's like, am I that disappointed about it?
No.
No.
I am just so happy Segura decided to come now and not, 3 weeks ago,
Yes, that
because
is true.
we would have had a real come to Jesus meeting about what has to happen. Uh, and Darian, my girlfriend, would have been very angry at us for having UFC 300 on my phone while we're watching a comedy show. Because that's
Oh,
exactly how it would
I think it probably would have been, uh, Darian, if you want to go to the comedy show, you can. We will not.
Now, so in defense, we could have, because obviously the main event didn't happen until like 12:30, almost 1 my time, and the comedy show will be over at like 11:30. So we could have watched a healthy chunk of it, and then watched this Tom for the hour or whatever he goes, and then raced home and watched the main. But yeah, there would have been a lot of strategery going into that.
Yes, 100%. Glad we don't have that problem.
Yes.
Uh, Excited for next week. It's probably going to be we'll be a little more energized
Yes. It's
back
gonna
in the
be a good
same
time.
room. But I haven't even taken a look at the next week's card. It might suck. So, oh yeah,
Here.
Derek Lewis headlining the
Yes.
pay-per-view.
Oh wait, we get Carlos Olberg. That's not bad.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Carlos Sean Woodson.
Oh,
Robelis Spain.
Despain.
Yep.
Despain's fighting, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so there's
Yeah.
some Chase Hooper, your boy
Chase Hooper,
Chase,
yep.
T-Rex.
Tabitha Ricci.
Yeah,
Nice.
dude. This is
That's
better than the
fine. It's
pay-per-view
just
we're
the main
about to
event
get.
that sucks, actually.
Dude, this is literally better than the pay-per-view we're about to get.
Possibly, yeah.
Like if you moved Menefield Olberg, Robelis, and put Chase Hooper on there for the boys. And then switched out like Anthony, Michelle. Well, no, let Michelle get the pay-per-view. But maybe put Oral By on the main. Like you could have done some finagling and made 301 much more
Yeah.
attractive with
Oh, this is the St. Louis card.
yeah.
Buckley's fighting on this too.
Yeah. It's a yeah, we're gonna have I think we're gonna
It's
have as many
actually
picks.
not
Yeah.
bad. Not
I think
bad.
we're gonna have as many picks from this as we do from 301.
Probably. Yeah. Okay.
But for that inevitable live podcast that we got coming up, Alex, where can they find it?
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Fox 19 Jackson on Twitter,
Got it.
Alex Eisman KGWN on Twitter. I always have to think about that. But
Well, yeah, I had to go through a rebrand. So
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
than when we flipped it and I did the last one. I just straight up did not know. Which is crazy because we're sending like DMs and stuff constantly. But
Yeah. But
yeah,
we got it worked out. We got it worked out.
we did. We did. So all right, yeah. Happy 301. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.